Hey everyone, we are here with the fucking legend Burton C. Bell. You know him from, I'm gonna say, almost every fucking release ever. He has played with fucking everyone. Geezer Butler, of course, Soulfly with Max Cavalera, and he's been on
That
Soil and
big.
all kinds of shit, dude.
I'm like the Troy McClure of metal. Hi,
Yes.
my name is Burton C. Bell. You might remember me from certain bands as Fear Factory, Essential the Watchers, GZR, City of Fire, Ministry, Soulfly, Static X.
Yeah. I
So,
was like looking and I'm like,
so
holy shit, I didn't realize Burton had
mind
been on
shame.
like so much, dude. Holy fuck. Uh,
I've been very fortunate to work with incredible artists. I've been very fortunate.
that's super cool. One of the really cool things is, strangely enough, I was just listening to Apocrypha from Ascension of the Watchers, and holy fuck,
Oh,
that's
nice.
so good, dude. Like,
Thanks, brother. That was the third release we did. The second release on a label on we did on two different labels. But first one was independent, and that was an EP. That was called Iconoclast, and that was released in 2004. And I released it myself. The actual full length album was released in 2008 on 13th Planet, which is Al Jurgensen's label.
yeah,
And I had a chance. He had a chance to work with him on that, and he mixed it. And then the last release was 2020 in Apocrypha. Thank you. Essential Watch was essentially a labor of love, and writing music that I felt really music that I was writing myself. So everything you hear, I wrote,
oh, right on.
and I worked with John, and I worked with various other artists through the whole thing. But essentially, I wrote all the music.
That's super cool. Like,
Yeah,
and it's like it's a jump off from everything else that everyone knows you for, because everything so fucking heavy. And then you
exactly.
have, yeah,
Exactly, and
like,
that's if I wanted to do something heavy back then, I just did it with Fear Factory.
right. Yeah, but I think it shows like how well-rounded you are in the musical realm, which is, I don't want to say rare, but it's probably not as common as a lot of people think, you know.
Well, I'm no Devin Townsend, that's for sure. It's
Yeah, but
back
who the fuck is?
no one. We only need one Devin Townsend in this world, thank goodness,
Yeah,
because if there was more people like him in this world, he would not be so unique.
right.
But
What a
you know,
unique cat.
I go. I'm attracted to music that I like, and I try to I try to create music that I am connected to, and I try to be part of music that I'm connected to. So I've had many opportunities to make that happen. Being an artist, a working artist at that, I've had the opportunity, like I said, work with a lot of different artists and having the ability to record and write different types of music I feel very fortunate for that.
Yeah, 30 plus year career is it's impressive. I feel like there are so many artists that are like flash in the pans. You might have them for a couple of years or they get that one single that's fucking, ginormous and then they're off the
Of
map.
course, yeah, yeah. There's as we call them one-hit wonders, and
Yeah.
the world is full of them. And thank goodness, because sometimes those music, those those songs that one-hit wonder wrote is a time capsule for everyone's life. Everyone who ever existed during that time period and liked music has a time capsule. For instance, if I say "Flock of Seagulls" to you, I'm not sure what age you are, but were you
I,
alive? Were you alive when the flock of seagulls were hit?
I was.
So if
Yeah,
I say flock of seagulls, that probably takes you back to 1985. 80, probably no, that's 84.
83, 84. Yeah. Yeah, Flock of Seagulls. I mean, the one that always sticks out to me is, "Hey, Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind." Like,
Oh God, Tony Basil.
yeah,
She became famous because she was Mick Jagger's choreographer or something like that.
the like,
Somebody
it's,
choreographer.
but I think that's the great thing about music is from the local bands to the people who do it 300 nights a year, there's a space for everyone. And you if you're one of the lucky few and get a hit, whether it's one or 10, you're lucky enough to have that hit, which is fuck
Absolutely.
is awesome, you know?
Can you imagine being like the Eagles or Steve Miller, who have like who has at least two songs played on every classic rock station around the world every day,
Yeah. Oh, every hour, I'm sure. Like,
every hour, any given time period.
yeah, it's so wild.
That in itself is a. I don't think anyone can do that anymore. It's the nature of the music industry. That's the music industry has changed, and so no, I don't think there's anyone out there that can really do that anymore.
No, and that it brings up a really, a really good question, something that I was thinking about, like, with your solo stuff, Savages, wow, like,
Thanks, brother.
dude, it is fan fucking tastic. And
Thank you.
Antidroid, holy shit.
Thank you. I'm again working working on my own now. I'm able to work with different producers at any given time. And Alex Crescione, who did Antidroid, uh, I met him while recording the uh, the Rammstein cover for Du Hast.
Du
That
Hast,
was part of
yeah.
Cleopatra's Rammstein tribute record. So I met him doing that, and I had the opportunity to speak to him about my wishes and my goals for the future. Essentially, I was putting it out there in the universe, as they say. And he heard me, and he's like, "Hey, I got this song. How would you like to try it?" I'm like, so I listened to it. I'm like, "Oh my god, the song spoke to me." So I was like, let's start here. Let's do this." And it's just kind of snowballed since then. I'm able to work with a band now, like Savages. The song I started working on after Antidroid was Technical Exorcism, and I started working with a guitar player producer named Henrik Lind, who is now in my band, and he wrote Savages.
Oh, right on.
And Savages is like a banger, man. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, let's do this.
Me too. I was like, I immediately like listened to it, sent it to my friend. I'm like, dude, listen to this now. And the only thing I got back was, holy fucking shit. Like,
Yeah, I think
yes.
it finally struck a chord with my fan base, and I think that a lot of people are really happy with what they're hearing. So there's been a lot of positivity. Of course, there's always going to be the haters. You can't control that, but it comes with the territory. I've been dealing with that for 30 years.
Let them keep talking. At least your name's in their mouth?
Exactly. Hate me or not, you're still talking about me.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, I fucking love it. So what do you do to to keep your voice in shape? I mean, after this long in in the industry.
Well, it's not easy. I'll say that, but it's like a muscle. You keep working it out, it's going to stay healthy. And I working with a band and being able to work. I'm preparing for a tour, so we are rehearsing a lot and playing songs from my entire catalog. We are just getting ready, and being able to do that keep it healthy. So that's what helps. And I do have to concentrate a bit more these days. The I can't be I'm not being on I can't be on stage jumping around doing backflips or anything like that anymore. I have to concentrate on breathing, and that's what's important because I believe that the fans coming to the shows and wanting to hear the song, wanting to hear the songs, wants to hear it well. They don't want to see some, they could do without the acrobatics and be more into like hearing the vocals.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. Just as a fan going to a show, when any of us go to a show, we don't want a half-ass show. We want to know that the performer is giving it their all. And you
And
know,
exactly. And for me, I'm a firm believer in live music should be live. And I'm not, there's no backing tracks. And no, I'm not a fan of backing tracks. I'm not a fan of auto tune. It's live. It's supposed to be live. Live music's supposed to be live. And what happens when you're live? You have mistakes. It's raw. It's not going to sound exactly like the record. If you want to listen to exactly the record, put the record on.
by the record, yeah,
If you want it to be live, it's going to be live, and you're going to have to deal with all the flaws that come with live.
yeah. It's a I guess it's a lot more authentic. Going to a live show because the sound is gonna every night it might be off just a hair, right? But the band notices. Fans don't often notice, but sometimes they're like, "Hey, that was different." At least for us, real nerds, we're like sitting back going, "Okay, what's going to be different tonight?" "Oh, look at that vocal was a little different." Or
And it shows that you're getting an actual performance, that they're actually bringing you an actual performance live, and then it's going to be unique every show. So whatever happens, you see is that one time only.
yep.
If there might be something that happens, it's like, wow, that never happens before, but it's like, wow, that's cool. We'll keep we'll keep that. I got to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was always really cool. That was probably got really hot with all the jam bands because of course, you go, you see Hendrix, it's going to change,
Mm,
every night. It's a whole different show. Uh, there's a
absolutely.
there's a label out of, I think they're out of New York that did something really cool. I don't know if they still do it, but like they would take a band and put them in the studio, and you essentially pre-order this single from the band.
Hmm.
They would play it live, record it, and press it. So that version,
Was that Gene Simmons doing that?
I don't, I'll be honest, like, I don't know that Gene Simmons did it. I know it because a buddy of mine, one of his projects did it. And I was like, man, that's really fucking cool.
There was a band, there's a classic band, they've been around since the late 70s, but they're a German industrial band called Einstürzen der Neubauten. And it was probably about 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago, they were touring the United States. And what they would do is record every show and sell a live recording of that show after the show. So,
That's awesome.
I'm like, that's a pretty cool idea. So you are part of a fan experience, being at the show and hearing exactly what you saw that night.
Yeah. Talk about turning that show like right around. Like, here, we're going to, you get something else to purchase from that show. Like, um,
Absolutely. And I thought that's a cool idea. That's a really cool idea.
yeah, it really is. Like it's because just like we are talking about, every show is so unique.
Yeah. Are you in New York?
Now I'm in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville?
Louisville. Yeah, you nailed it.
That's a nice town.
Yeah,
I
it's
actually spent the night there a few months ago. My wife and I were traveling across country with my parents for a family reunion, and we stopped in Louisville for the night. And actually have my wife has an aunt who lives in Louisville, which is pretty cool.
oh, right on. Yeah, I think I've been here off and on like 20, probably about 25 years, 26 years, something like that.
I don't think I've played Louisville in a long time. I think the last time I played it was maybe 2014, 2015, no, 2011 maybe.
Maybe time for you to come back then?
I think it's been 15 years since I've been there, actually.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We,
The last time I played it, Byron was in the band, and so was Gene Hoglan. So it was mechanized.
headliners, I think, is where you.
We were headlining some small club somewhere in the outskirts of town.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because I feel like you guys played at Headliners that night.
Is that the name of the place?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was my buddy Chris was like security and he was
Mm,
like, dude, I was like, cool, I'll be there. I'll see you. Like
right on, man. Right
so
on.
I'm sure a lot like you know, so many shows, like so many places. Like, I don't fucking really remember.
What's weird for me is that I remember a lot of places and things I've done throughout for these 30 years, which is odd. I don't know why. I just have this weird memory ability where I can remember certain places. A lot of places I don't remember, but I do remember a lot of places.
So
So,
what's like one place in your years of touring that like that sticks out the most? Like this was probably the coolest place I ever played.
coolest place? Well, I don't know about the coolest place, but the first thought that came to mind, because my thought process was going somewhere else. But the coolest memory I have of a show is it's probably 1998, 99, probably 99, and Fear Factory's headlining the Rose Line in New York City. It's our obsolete tour, and we're headlining the Rose Line. It's sold out, and it's like maybe 2,000, probably 2,500 people. It's a pretty big place. It's a big ballroom, and we go on stage. Pan goes on stage. The crowd just goes nuts. I walk on stage and look at the audience, and I just see it. Just like it hit me like a freight train. That's like holy fuck. In my mind, like holy fuck, we've made it in New York City. Got a fucking sold out show, and like holy fuck. I suddenly this feeling just overwhelmed, just like completely overwhelmed. The song Shock starts. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm like, fuck. I turned around and kneeled down on the like on my knees, like turn around facing Raymond, kneel down just to like because I thought I was gonna lose it. Like not in a bad way, but I was like emotionally like so overwhelmed that feelings of just pure joy that I had to like turn around and compose myself. And then as soon as I did, I turned around and go, shock.
That's, you know, the things like that are what make like every show unique. You know, it's like seeing I you know, I hate to say like this thing, but when a performer's like someone really close to him passes away and the next show is like that emotional return. Sometimes it's the same night or the next night, but it's you know, hey, we're gonna do this for so and so, and it really changes the vibe of the whole room at that
Well,
point.
yeah, and that's a whole nother topic where music is the sound of the soul. It's all about vibrations and it's all about memory and it's all about words. It's about what you're feeling. I mean, music is a time capsule. There's that word again, and it can take you back to a certain moment. I remember, there's certain songs in my catalog where while I'm singing, those those very emotions I was thinking about while writing the song come through me again, and I'm like, I get those feelings again, and I get I get chills like, fuck, this is killer.
Yeah,
And music it's timeless. It as long as you're playing it sincerely and passionately, it's going to come across that way.
absolutely. But that's also where I think like the longevity comes through for you know for performers too. Like they're when you have a career that lasts more than 5, 6, 7 years, you know, they're
Yeah,
the the fans connect with it because you're not putting bullshit out. You're putting
right.
out something that means something to you.
Exactly, and that's a sign of a true artist. And for me, I've I've realized a long time ago when Fear Factory first started, and I was writing lyrics, and we got signed. I was like, okay, here's the time. I have this moment in my life where my voice and my words will be heard and read. I'm going to make each word count and make each thought count and make it meaningful. And I made that a point my entire career.
That's that's awesome. I think there are a lot of artists who they hit that, I don't know, this level of success, and it stops being about let's do this and it starts being about let's how do we make more money? How do we get more listens or
Exactly. I'm yeah, there's certain artists that can they can survive on doing that kind of stuff, but that's very few and in between. I think a lot the artists that have remained for so long are true artists, and they do exactly what they intend to do.
yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's also why I prefer to stay more in like the underground realm because it's one that I feel like in the underground that's where everything's on like the cutting edge, or you find the most unique stuff, and it's not the radio friendly. Oh man, okay, I thought I heard this song like 10 minutes ago. You know what I
That's a
mean?
good, it's a very good point. The underground, unsigned artists, the underground, they have nothing to lose, so they just go all out.
Yeah.
And so
There's
when
no
you do
external
that,
pressure.
exactly, there's no external pressure. The freedom you have to express yourself is just unlimited.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a great point. Unsigned artists in the underground are making great leaps and bounds in the music industry. Well, in music in general, they're doing incredibly new things that sound killer.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But I think it brings a question to me, after 30 years in the industry, like, do you feel like a sense of freedom because you're a very well established artist?
I would like to, 30 years, I've been around. I'm established in some ways, yes, but I would like to think I am an artist that being an independent artist at this point in time, I feel I have sky's the limit. My freedom is just, I can go in any direction. I can do whatever I like. And even though even with my mantra, heavy, groovy, dark, and moody, that in itself opens doors to so many different possibilities. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
that, I have the freedom to express myself, and I'm working with a band that is allowing me to do that, which is incredible. And I have the ability to with other producers that will allow me to explore different avenues to allow me to express myself as well. So yes, my freedom is unfathomable right now.
That's so awesome. I think that's what every artist like strives to have, just that freedom. I think most young bands, what do? They get, I say most young bands, but I don't I don't know scale, but they're the bands who are out there to get signed, they'll almost do whatever the label says. Oh, we want you to do this. Okay.
Well, yeah, there's the thing. So I've just finished reading Rick Rubin's book. I can't remember the name. The name escapes me for some reason, but there was a chapter in it where artists that are musicians that are have a goal just to get signed, they've already limited their scope and what they need to accomplish, or what they could accomplish. That's not how he said it, but I'm pretty much putting it in a nutshell. That's like, why limit yourself to one goal when the goal should just be creating music in the first place?
Yeah. That's a valid point. It creates that ceiling. You hit that ceiling and you're like, cool, I'm done. Huh?
You know, got I want to like pause and just like go grab this book so I can just tell you what the hold on a sec.
Do it. Yeah.
Ah, yes. The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. This is what it looks like.
Right on.
So I suggest every artist to read it. Um, if you're an artist that has been working for like the many years that I have, a lot of it already to me is like, oh yes, I already know this, but the way he's articulating it is it's very uh, poetic is a word. It's very poignant. If you're not an artist, you should read it so you can understand what artists do go through and what the process is, because it's a lot more complicated than people realize. And it's a pretty cool book, and it almost reads like The Art of War by Lao Tzu. It's just very simple, very plain, very poetic.
Hmm. I'm gonna have to go read that now.
It's an easy read. I mean, it
Right
really
on.
is.
Yeah, he's another one of those people. Like he's touched so much and like really helped shape so many different people and the industry. It's
Oh yeah. I mean, in every genre,
yeah,
you could probably name, I probably have like 10 albums in my collection that are like some of my favorite, and there's some, and Rick Rubin's behind them.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
what is, it's like, and reading the book is like, wow, I can see why everything he touches is just it's fucking gold.
yeah. It's so weird. I've only seen a few little small videos uh, of him being interviewed, but it's always like, I don't know how to play music. I just know what I feel, like I like that. That
And he doesn't know how to play music, but he knows how to create.
right.
And that's what makes him a producer. He's an idea man. And a lot of the times that's what bands need. They just need the idea to do something, to try something different, or to how to proceed further in the music that they're creating. That's
Yeah,
this. That's why I learned what a producer is.
that's a valid point. Who was that first producer for you that like where you were like, holy shit, this is my light bulb moment.
Huh. I've worked with a lot of great producers, um, but it was I think it wasn't a producer, but it was a mixer, and it was Greg Reilly who took our music and transformed it and made Fear Factory sound the way they did. And that was he. It was if it weren't for Greg Reilly, Team Manufacturer wouldn't have sounded the way it did.
Yeah, that I think that's a really good point too, right? We talk so often about producers, and when you get into like the mixing and what have you, like those engineers, a good engineer really helps shape that fundamental sound that everyone hears.
Absolutely, it's insane. There's so many, there's so many things, there's so many people involved in the creation of an album that people don't realize.
Yeah. Yeah, and the marketing and oh, it's
Or from the beginning to the end, it's like so much, man.
yeah. Yeah. Did you think when you started playing music that you
Marketing,
were gonna uh-oh.
be did I have to be the one marketing? Yeah, I always knew I had to market myself, but it's come to an extent where I'm like, I didn't sign up for this shit.
Yeah.
I never signed up for social media. Fuck this. But I've had to learn. I've had to adapt.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such a different time now, right? We come from a time when you did a lot of tape trading and you wanted more fan base, you either got played on the radio or you were out playing shows constantly.
Yeah, and that was called playing shows part is the grassroots part.
Grassroots.
To remember fanzines,
Oh yeah.
that was like grassroots at its lowest level. Low, I shouldn't say lowest, at its deepest level, I should say.
Yeah. That and it's funny. I was talking to someone probably 2 or 3 months ago, and we're like, man, I really kind of miss those zines.
They
You
were
look,
cool.
you get to see what's going on in these different markets. So I went to a show, I don't know, probably like Friday last week, something, and the headlining band had zines. I was like, yes,
Really?
yeah,
Like made the zines themselves.
yeah. It was all like handwritten and
Wow,
and
that's pretty
everything,
cool.
dude. It was super cool.
Was there art or interviews? What was it? Was it like a little
It was,
pamphlet?
yeah, it was a little. I think it was like 20 pages or maybe 30 pages. Um, they had reviews of shows, reviews of bands, and their their shtick was we talk bad about everything, so everything was absolutely terrible and blah 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 blah.
That might not work out for them in the long run.
Oh, I don't, it was fun. It was fucking hilarious, dude.
Oh, well, then that's probably the whole point.
Yeah, yeah, and they were super cool people. So I was like, all right, like, um,
It's pretty
uh,
funny, and it was the fact that it's not online because I think that's better because you're just like you get something on paper that you can read and like, it's like an inside joke that you're sharing with the band.
yes, and it's
That's
tangible.
I like that idea. That's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah,
I wasn't talking shit, but maybe a fanzine that's like has like your thoughts and your lyrics or some artwork of yours or a story like from the week before
a tour diary or anything.
or diary. All of the above. It can all work. I think you,
Yeah,
Tom. Thank you for sharing that story because you've given me an interesting idea. Thank you.
yeah, you're very welcome. I'm happy to help make those ideas happen. Uh,
Tom, the idea guy.
yeah, I do. Yeah, seriously, you ask my wife and she's like, "You have another fucking idea?" Yes, I do. I'm gonna do this. Like,
Well, I hope you have a
okay,
journal and write them all down.
I
Or
I
do you have like
wish.
do you have post-its all over your house?
I got little whiteboards fucking everywhere.
Oh my God. I got my journal right here. I
Like,
got another piece of, I got one of these. Fuck, where I got one of these that I write
oh
on.
yeah,
So,
those legal pads. I carry seriously, I carry like two computers and notebooks in a backpack with me everywhere I go. So I have an idea. I try to flesh it out. If I'm on the
yeah,
computer, I'll flesh it out in Word or I'll put it notes in my phone or sometimes I'll grab the
I have
notebook.
notes on the phone. I carry my backpack a lot with my journal. I don't really carry my computer everywhere with me because it's older and kind of heavy. But the journal suffices.
Yeah. Yeah, I carry my computer like so my day job, I'm a realtor.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. So I'm always like okay, I got to look at house for this person or contract or whatever that is. So the computers go with me everywhere. And I don't have to worry about my kids like getting into my backpack.
Yeah, so I'm going to digress or even a non sequitur. But what's your favorite thing about Savages?
Oh, honestly, the heaviness. I really like the heaviness, but I feel like your voice is something about your voice in Savages, dude. It just fucking grabs me. Absolutely grabs me.
Wow, well, thank you. Um, what's cool? Well, I say what's cool about that song is that I recorded the vocals after a short tour, and it's like I had to leave. I got so I was gonna go back home after the tour, and I was like, oh, we'll do vocals like this day, and I my wife reminded me, oh, you're not leaving that day, you're leaving this day, which was a day earlier. It's like, fuck, we got to do lyrics now. So we like Henrik and I got in the car. I was like, we got to go to the studio. It's like, yeah, okay. I warmed up for like 3 days in a row on this show, on this song. Let's nail it. So I went in and it's pretty much got it done in an hour.
Oh, right on. That's
But
so awesome.
my voice was warmed up. I worked out all the parts. I had the lyrics down. I'm like, let's go in and do it. And that's what's cool. The song was like uh, what sets that aside from Antidroid and Techno Exorcism is that this Savages was a fully fleshed out song from start to finish. We worked together on it. We jammed it together. It was like we demoed it, so it was like fully fleshed out. So it wasn't just like, hey, everyone sending in their files from different places. We worked on it together as a band, And I think that's one. I think that is actually captured in this recording. That's like it sounds like a band.
It absolutely does. And that's, I think that's such a rare thing anymore. Well, again, maybe not so rare, but there are a lot of people who they have this project or this band and it essentially it's all them. Like I wrote everything, just play it like this. Like,
Right.
okay, I get it, but I guess the question I have for them is like, do you really feel that it's cohesive? Or do you feel like, nah, they did exactly what I wanted them to do, you know?
Yeah. And yeah, I think we're a band. I think, Burton C. Bell has definitely evolved. Talking about myself in the third person now. Um, when I started doing, my solo work, it was just me solo. I didn't have a band. Like I've worked with two different producers. I was getting, like for Technical Exorcism, I got Big Paul Ferguson to his tracks. He was on the other side of the country. I got Norman Westberg to do his tracks. He was on the other side of the country. So it was kind of piecemeal, and which is fine. But now that Savages is out, putting out under my own name is like, yes, it's Burton C. Bell, but I think it's more than that now. It's like we're a band that's actually working together. And I'm toying. I keep toying with the idea. Should I have a band name? I don't know. Ozzy doesn't have a band name, but Ozzy's a whole different animal. But when Ozzy works with Black Sabbath, he doesn't. It's not just Ozzy. It's Black Sabbath.
Right.
He named for himself. But I'm trying. I'm toying with that idea. If I put, not if, when I put out a record, should I put out a Ramon name or should I have a band name at this point?
Huh. You know that
Should it be
that
C. Bill and
that was what I was gonna say.
yeah,
Maybe it's Burton C. Bell and the flaming minions of fucking, Valhalla or whatever.
best name ever.
Yes,
Yes, but you get my point.
absolutely. There are, you're right there. I mean, like Ozzy, he had a number of people behind him on his solo stuff. Of course, Black Sabbath was Black Sabbath. That would be a question that you'd have to answer. Like, do you feel like it's just going to be you and these folks moving forward, or is it going to be a rotating cast?
Well, I would like to keep, these guys because they're awesome.
Yeah.
Henrik Lind is a great guitar player. He's a great producer. He's a great engineer. Tony Baumeister is a great bass player. I've known Tony since 1993. We've been friends ever since then, and I've been a fan of every band he's been in. I've known Junior, the drummer, for probably 15 years. He's from Canada, and he's a great drummer. And I've known Corey is the newest guy. Corey, he's my second guitar player, but I'm getting to know them, and the more I'm getting to know Corey, the better relationship we have, and we have a good relationship. But he's turning out to be a fantastic artist, and he's also a great producer.
That's awesome.
So I would
So
like to see these guys because they're fucking talented.
I would say so. Listening to Savages, fucking not there's not a moment in there where I'm like, oh, what was that? I'm always like, holy fuck, this is so good.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
so do you feel Savages is like as a band super cohesive?
Yeah, I think so. The new music that we're currently recording is as good. It doesn't sound like it's not the same song as Savages, but it's still heavy,
Yeah.
and we're exploring different ideas. So it's all within my mantra of heavy, groovy, dark, and moody. I would say the next one of the songs we're working on has a really like heavy Black Sabbath type of vibe,
Okay.
which is fucking cool.
Yes.
And which is great. I love both bands. And so we're exploring. So I'd like to keep on working. They understand what I'd like to do, and they want the best for me as well as for them. So what's good for me is great for them. So we're making it happen. So hopefully, we'll get back from Australia. We're going to keep recording new music.
Yeah, which you leave for here in just a couple of days.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Um,
man. I'm excited and full of anxiety.
yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. Well, and so one thing I like about, listening through like the singles that you've released is that they don't all sound the same.
Right.
They all have a sound unto themselves. Like, don't get me wrong, I love AC/DC for what they are, but it's they've released the same album for 50 years or whatever now.
One step further, my band and I were just talking about this just like a few nights ago, and that same idea about AC/DC writing the same record for 50 years. There's a story that one of them told, like it's told about Angus, either Angus or Malcolm. Someone repeated that statement to him. He goes, I'll get a better one on you. We've been writing the same song for 50 years.
Yes. But they do it so fucking good,
Yeah,
and like I said, that like there's a place for them, and I love them, and I am no disrespect to AC/DC and any part of their legacy, but there's also, for the listener, I think often what do we want? We want to hear an album that doesn't just go like this. We want peaks and valleys through the whole thing. We want it to
absolutely.
take us on that journey, and that's something that I really enjoy about the music you're releasing. That's what I like about Apocrypha. Like, it is a fucking dark journey
It is a
that
dark journey, very
it
personal journey too.
it really takes me back to some of the music that I listened to in the 80s and 90s, and I'm just like,
And like you, I'm a fan of the same type of concept. An album should be a chapter or should be a book about what you were experiencing that entire time you're writing. And it's not just one note all the way through. It's peaks, it's valleys, and you're taking the listener on the same journey that you've just been on.
yeah. Yeah, that's how it should be, right? That's art.
Absolutely.
Art.
And I want to continue that concept.
Yeah. Well, hearing you talk about what you guys are working on, I'm really excited for what's coming down the pipeline.
Thank you. I'm excited
Because
too.
like to see the look on your face when you talk about the band is like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Thanks, man. I'm glad it shows because I'm really happy with the group of guys I'm working with. They're fantastic, fantastic people, fantastic artists, and they're super talented. And
Hell yeah.
they're great.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Go team.
Hooray, sports ball. So is your plan to do, obviously, right? You've released some singles, but is the plan to do a fully fleshed out album?
Yeah. I think that's going to be probably an EP will be my next release.
Right on. All right.
Try and get more music done and, put out the EP and then write more music and then put out a full album. But just the idea is just to keep working, keep putting things out, dropping nuggets here and there for the fans, show them I'm still alive, show them I'm still working, still showing them I'm still doing music.
Very much so. And not
I am
just
not
still doing
obsolete yet.
music. No, no, not at all. You're doing some great music.
Thank you,
I'm
Tom.
like,
Thank you so
I'm, I'm,
much.
I really am excited for what you got coming down the pipeline. I want to know, I'm assuming you're going to do vinyl.
That's the idea. That's the idea. I would love to. I've never put out an EP with anyone, So to put out my first EP like on vinyl, that'd be like, yep, finally done that.
Real quick, I know we only have a couple of minutes. So Australia is coming up. You're leaving here on Sunday.
Yeah, I got 4 shows in Australia. I will be in Brisbane on June 11th at the Triffid. I will be in Newcastle on June 12th at the King Street Band Room. I will be in Sydney on June 13th at the Factory Theatre, and I'll be in Melbourne on June 14th at the Corner Hotel.
Hell
And
yeah.
you can find all this information on my social medias. You can go to burtoncbell.com to find that out. On my Instagram is Burton C Bell official. Um, I got a green I got a green check, so it means I'm real. Or
I'm
my Facebook,
official.
or just go to Burton C Bell on Facebook, and it's not a personal page, it's a fan page. It's a fan page, I guess. So it's all this is all about my music and announcements and stuff like that.
Hell
So
yeah.
check all that out.
You guys go check out Burton C. Bell. Go see him in Australia.
Please
Um,
do.
Burton, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your evening to come and chat with me.
My pleasure,
God,
man. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Yeah, I've had
I
a
look
great time.
I look forward to our paths crossing in Louisville.
Absolutely. Well, safe travels and we'll talk soon.
We'll talk to you later, brother. You be well.
You too, brother. See ya.